Okay, if you guys are ready to roll, let's do this.
All right, you got it. Hello, everyone. I was just telling Sean over here that I actually I like the computer. It's like you're at an event with a ton of people, except you're not there. Yeah. So it's kind of nice. It's like, oh my gosh, look at all these people. So we're talking about 2018 rosé. I guess I'll just go through and give just a little quick talk about our winery. So we're
just up because you can't see your video.
What was that?
Hold on. I don't know what that. Let's go find who isn't muted. Y'all look muted. I'm not sure I'll catch that. Well, I think we'll go unless there's another objection there.
I can see his face.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. So go on about your guys' winery.
All right. So we're located in Carlton, Oregon, which is right in the heart of the Yamhill-Carlton AVA of the Willamette Valley. We're a pretty small winery. We do about 3,000 cases every vintage. Most of the wine we make is from, at least the fruit is sourced from our own vineyard, which is just a few miles north of the town of Carlton, right between Carlton and Yamhill. And we have a small vineyard planted there with Pinot Noir and Chardonnay grapes. And then we do source some fruit from up in Washington, Oregon, but Walla Walla AVA, Seven Hills Vineyard. We travel up there and we purchase some Syrah and Cabernet to bring back down here. But our tasting room's in Carlton. That's kind of where we do most of our business through. So yeah, Ryan Marshall, myself, my older brother, Sean Davis, it's our name. Marshall Davis, we're stepbrothers, but our parents got married when we were super young. So we've grown up our whole lives together. So that's kind of how we came up with the name. But makes all the wine, so I'll let him talk a little bit about rosé, and then we can kind of go in and maybe chat a little bit more about some of the other stuff we do.
Rosé. Let's see. So this is an intentional rosé. So we farm 2 different blocks in our vineyard specifically for rosé. So we treat it a lot like a white wine grape, like our Chardonnay especially. We don't pull leaves on, at least here in Oregon. We like to open up the fruiting zone for red wine, but for white wine, we like to not do that, to kind of slow the process down, at least the ripening process, to kind of help build flavors. And then we'll crop a little bit heavier as well to kind of keep acidity a little higher. And then, this rosé has 2 different clones in it. It has the 777 Dijon clone. And then it also has a clone called Maria Feld, which is a Swiss clone. Great, it's a huge, the clusters are huge for Pinot Noir, at least. Really, it's the largest cluster in the Pinot Noir family. They're big. Good for color and acidity and Pinot Noir, at least. But I like the acidity for rosé. And then, so we'll pick this a little lean. We like to pick around 20.5 bricks to kind of get the alcohol pretty low. And then we'll take it to the winery. We do whole cluster pressing. We do not do any skin contact whatsoever on this. This goes straight to the press, whole cluster, and it presses off. And then once we press the juice off, we do not settle it either. I like to get all the chunkies in there to kind of help with some of the good reductive notes. So maybe give you a little bit of minerality to it while it's fermenting. But we ferment this in 75% of it gets fermented in an egg-shaped vessel. If it's a vessel shaped like an egg, and so when it ferments, it actually has a convected process to it, stirs itself. So the idea would be like kind of stirring the lees with Chardonnay, but we're doing it with rosé, but it does it itself. And it really helps with the texture of the wine. I think it really kind of mellows and softens the texture of the wine a little bit, but also really amplifies the aromatics as well. And then we do 25% stainless steel just to kind of keep that kind of nice cleanness to it. And that's about it. I mean, we go straight to bottle. We filter, we don't fine it, but filter it. And ML, it does not go through ML at all. We keep it with full malic on it. So keeps that zippiness to it as well.
Tell them how much you love rosé.
Oh, I hate rosé.
The funny part is I know that when I kind of picked it, but I was trying to find something to compare to an intentionally made rosé out of Provence, and this one I thought was our best example that we had. So I picked that one knowing that you weren't going to love talking about it. So
it's not that I like rosé now that we're doing it in a thoughtful manner. Going through the wine business and working under other winemakers. Rosé was always not the best block in the vineyard, and it didn't ripen well, and so the flavors always, and then we didn't worry about the fermentation. It was just in the tank in the corner, and it just sat there, and we never even checked on it half the time, So that's why rosé to me was always just kind of But I think when we make it like this, it works really well. I'm a custom crush winemaker, so I make wine for 7 different labels around here. So I have the opportunity of making 50 to 60 different wines a year. And so I usually make about 5 or 6 different rosés a year. We have my label and then other people's. But it really helped me to find a sweet spot, I think, for what a rosé should be. Kind of bouncing off what other people, oak versus stainless steel, Saignang, which I don't like. Anyway. So I feel like we really were able to hone in our rosé within a couple of years to a place where I felt like it was something French in style and a good food wine as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys want to talk about a little bit how you guys started and kind of the growth of the winery and maybe some of your guys' backgrounds, because I think that's a really interesting part of your guys' story.
Yeah, so we started the brand in 2011. Right about the same time we planted our vineyard site. And Sean had been in the wine business a little bit before that. I was more on the kind of sales, marketing, a little bit restaurant side of things. And actually right before we started this brand, Sean and his wife bought the Horseradish Restaurant, which is a kind of a staple here in the town of Carlton. It's like your lunch spot to go get picnic things and stuff like that to take to the wineries. And when we started the brand, Sean was already making wine. We wanted to just do a little side thing. We were kind of just going to do like 100 cases just to sell through the restaurant, kind of see how it went, kind of starting a private label. And it just kind of blew up from there. And we kind of grew, I guess you'd call it organically every year, just kind of reinvesting everything back in the company. And we're up to, 3,000 cases now. And we just kind of kept adding new varietals, the ones that we wanted to work with, and that kind of fit into the business model that we had. And we knew when we planted our vineyard site that Oregon Chardonnay was going to take off big time, and it's kind of just starting to reach that a higher level where it's starting to get better scores and more people are talking about it. And that's kind of what we have been focusing on a lot lately. Actually, is more of our white wine program, which I consider the rosé too. We're essentially making a white wine. But I'll let Sean talk about his background a little bit.
My background, so my wine style comes from an art background. I have a Bachelor of Fine Art in Painting and Sculpture. I was a painter and a sculptor, did the gallery scene for a while. And then I went to culinary school. So I also have a Cordon Bleu culinary degree. So my winemaking style is definitely from a more sensual side. So I use the senses more than the numbers. My palate, I feel, is my most important tool in the winery. And I think it helps me create very consistent wines, at least to my style. And, we use the numbers, but they're just snapshots. We definitely, my interns and my assistant, we taste a lot of tastings, and that's kind of the approach we take to our wine. And also, I used to build golf courses for a living. So I had a construction background, and also the agronomy side. So I do love the vineyard side of things a lot. So we spend a lot of time in the vineyards, winemaking essentially starts now. just after bud break. And the vineyards are, to me, the most important part of it. And I just kind of make sure I don't screw it up, I guess, in the winery. But yeah, that's kind of where we come from a little bit.
Yeah, I think you get a lot of agreement from a lot of winemakers. Just don't screw up the fruit. It's good.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a small part of the equation, that's for sure.
So where did you start in Washington and work your way into Oregon? Is my memory correct?
We were, I worked in the Gorge. So I worked at a winery called Domaine Pouillon, gentleman with a French background, French winemaking background. And we made, Rhone varietals, and Marsanne Roussanne on the white side, and then a lot of Syrah, Mourvèdre, Beaunoise, and so that kind of stuff. And Cabernets and Syrahs as well. And when I got my first job in Oregon, I wasn't real happy about making Pinot Noir, that's for sure. I like the bigger reds, but now that I've been making Pinot Noir for 12 years now, I really appreciate what Pinot Noir has taught me. I really feel like Pinot Noir has made me a better winemaker. It's taught me a lot of restraint and not to manipulate what the vineyard is giving us. So it's definitely changed the way I approach bigger reds as well, and even rosés and white wines for sure. Pinot Noir has definitely been my greatest teacher in the winery for sure.
It can be a humbling grape. It seems that it's known that way.
Yeah, once you learn to listen to it, it's pretty mellow. Once you get in the barrel, you just walk away, man.
Don't touch.
Don't touch.
That's good.
The more the more it'll mess with you. So.
As long as you don't catch it in that kind of ugly, pimply teenage phase and panic, it's going to be.
Just let the barrel do its job, man. There's times I'll go to a barrel and you're like, whoa, but it's amazing. 2 months later, just don't touch it. Just let it do its thing. It really, especially with my Cabernet, the way we do our Cabernet is totally different. I mean, I don't do any pump overs on our Cabernet. We do punch downs only. We actually let it go through partial carbonic to kind of really emphasize the fruit character a little bit more. I mean, we really lay off of it, and that's all because of Pinot Noir. I mean, it is such a finicky grape. I'll say it very nicely.
That's cool. So have you found that to be a benefit to your cab? Are you increasingly enjoying that kind of style of the bigger reds? Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, like you think doing it that style would make it more tame, but it's not. It just makes it more balanced, in my opinion. We're able to pick somewhat leaner than the Washington guys are picking, but we're still picking at 25 and a half bricks. We're still getting a 15% alcohol, but you couldn't tell it was 15% alcohol at all. It still has bright, our acidity is still pretty good, but it's just balance. It's all about balance for me, especially. I've got to have a little bit of acid with the fruit and, the tannins too. Managing tannins, I like to do that at the front end of the fermentation process and not have to go back and find them out. And again, I think Pinot Noir is really taught me that too. Especially with Pinot Noir, it doesn't have much tannin, so we actually want to promote tannin, but it's kind of a backwards thing. So. And kind of so for people who maybe aren't familiar with the winemaking process as much, how do you promote tannin in your Pinot Noir? You were talking about punch downs and pump overs with cab. How does that translate to Pinot? Pinot, we do. I'm a very physical winemaker, so we don't do pump overs anyway because I feel like it's lazy. So we like to get in there. If we have to, we'll beat on it with the punch down to create some tannin. It just depends on the vintage. We do cold soaks to help. That'll bring a little bit of the tannin to the party. But then we do. It depends on the vintage, obviously. We'll do some whole cluster to bring tannin in, but it depends. It varies year to year how much we use, but we usually don't go much over 50%. We feel like it'll get a little too grippy over that and overpower the fruit. And also, whole cluster sucks the acid out of everything. It adds all the potassium in there, and so you got to be careful with that. And doesn't make it any easier to punch down. No, you can walk across it, man. Literally, that gives you a real workout. Yeah, but it benefits the wine in the long run, I feel, for sure. So.
That's a good question, Pierce. Can you describe a punch down for us? For some people may not know what a punch down is on this, so we may have just been talking in a foreign language.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
A punch down. Oh, you should come to the winery and I'll show you.
Exactly, you can help out.
Yeah. So when we have fermenters kind of like this behind me, we put grapes in something of this nature, and we'll stand on the top of it. It's full grapes.
Open top.
Open top. Full grapes. As it starts fermenting, we want to keep the cap wet, and we also just kind of want to stir up and generate some tannin as well, and some extraction. So we get up there with a tool that's got a flat bottom on it, and we physically punch it down. And it depends for us, like in Pinot Noir, at the beginning, we definitely do it 2 times a day for sure, sometimes 3, depending on the ferment. But then as we go further in the ferment, we actually, especially Pinot Noir, we slow down. We go down to 1 a day to manage the tannins as well, and to help promote a little bit of extraction to it as well. But yeah, punch downs are fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine that.
Like 30 of them.
I was going to say at least 30 of them, and you have to do it twice a day. And it's not easy.
Yeah.
Each one.
You start your day and end your day with it.
Yeah, sweating.
Yeah, it's good. At the end of the day, though, everyone's got a beer in their hand, so
yeah.
Everyone's happy. You know?
Get you nice and warm in the morning too, right?
For sure. Yeah, wakes you up whether you want it or not. So.
Yeah. How did you guys decide that you wanted to be in the wine business together?
Sean kind of was the one that started. I mean, our family was always into wine growing up, and we always drank a lot of wine. But when Sean kind of took the career change of becoming, like cellar hand in Washington and moving his kind of way up, when he moved down to Oregon, and then we kind of went to the restaurant part of it, we just kind of fell into it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been pretty fun.
Well,
it's kind of a way to get our family back all together. Our parents moved down here, like everyone's here except our younger brother, the other guy on the label. He'll be back up here soon though.
Yeah, he's a professional golfer.
Yeah, he's on there's no tour right now. But.
Yeah. But yeah, we had, my dad had a business in the golf world, and so we all worked in the golf business. So, which I hated. Well, I grew up in it, so it was just by the time I was in my early 30s, I was like, oh, I'm over this crap. And so I got into the wine business, and I felt like it was another avenue where we could all still work together, but just do something a little different, a little bit more fun and creative, although also a little bit creative, I guess. Yeah.
This one's 400 gallons. I saw that question that popped up. So that's like 9 barrels?
Yeah, it's about 6.5 barrels.
6.5.
Yeah. It's a 15 hectoliter tank. We do a series of wines in these. We call them our cast series. So we do Pinot Noir. We do a Cabernet. We're gonna do a Syrah this year, and we also do a Chardonnay in one of these. It's just a little different approach to making wines versus it's kind of a single batch mentality. So we'll make it ferments in here, it ages in here, and then it goes in the bottle straight out of here. It doesn't blend with anything else. It's just kind of a one of a kind.
It's like drinking out of one barrel, but we just use a big barrel.
Yeah. That's a cool way to go. I guess a little bit. So you guys talked about the concrete eggs, and then what else do you guys ferment in? Stainless,
T-bins. Chardonnay, a lot of barrel ferment, all our Chardonnays, or the cask. I mean, we do a lot of different fermentation styles anyway, just because, again, I'm making so many different wines in the winery for people. I'll ferment just about anything if they want me. I'll take the heads off barrels if they want me to, and we do that. And, it just depends on the style of wine we want. For me, it benefits a lot making those wines for everybody. Making that many different wines in a year, especially only at the 10,000 case range. These are small lots, really lets us play. So I feel like every vintage I'm doing about 5 or 6 different vintages because everyone wants to do something different. And so it really benefits our brand a lot because I get to see what works, at least for me. and what doesn't work. And we get to, I think, really take our experimentations and put it into good use just for our brands, which is fun.
Yeah, that's an awesome way to be able to learn.
Yeah, in a short period of time too, you know. Some of my clients are like, we want to do this. And I'm like, whoa, really? Okay. You know, I would never do that, but sweet, let's do it.
Give it a shot.
Yeah, I make some wine for a big old group out of Australia, and their whole approach to Pinot Noir is totally different, you know, so it's kind of fun to talk with them.
Interesting. Tell me more about that. I'm kind of curious.
So it's a group called Handpicked.
Yeah.
And they, you know, they're primarily in Australia, but they do make wine. They have winemakers in Bordeaux. They do South Africa, Napa. They do Argentina, I believe. And so then they just bring it back to Australia and sell it.
Interesting.
First Oregon project. They like Pinot Noir a lot. At least the owner and manager, they love Pinot Noir. So this was kind of a fun project for them. But their approach is totally different. It's kind of fun to learn from that. So.
Yeah, I spent a little time down there, and their approach to Pinot is different. But I had some fantastic stuff down, like Margaret River was cooler, and just some awesome wine.
Yeah. Yeah, they have, and they're Chard too. Actually, they brought some Chardonnay to me this last harvest, and I was like, oh, okay, this will be good. They do down in Tasmania is kind of their main area for Pinot Noir.
Yeah, it's nice and cool. There's some cool sparkling stuff coming out of there also. It's a pretty diverse. That's kind of a fun project to be able to be a part of.
Yeah, no, it's fun. Yeah, it's totally different. It's kind of a pain in the butt because talking to them, you know, I got to talk to them late at night or, you know, it's
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of fun.
So you guys talked about how you kind of saw maybe a white movement in Oregon, and it's just maybe kind of right at the beginning. Maybe talk about a little bit why you feel that way.
Chardonnay.
Yeah,
For
sure.
sure.
Chardonnay is what's happening. And it's, I don't know, I would say that 10 years ago, people were making Chardonnay here, but half of it would be stainless, half of it would be stainless blend between stainless and oak, half of it would be oaked and like still super buttery. And people would have their own clones planted too. And I think that once it seems like everyone, without really talking about it, got on the same page, and they're like, hey, wait a minute. If we make Pinot Noir like French Pinot Noir or similar, we should probably try to make white Burgundy style whites. And it works great.
Yeah.
So yeah, oaked, but you're keeping the minerality and the acid. It's really, really cool. And yeah, it'll be the next thing that people come to this region just to visit, instead of just Pinot Noir. I think people will come just for Chardonnay.
Chardonnay is really expressive here, just like Pinot Noir. The Chardonnay shines here. I wish it would take off faster because right now it's my favorite wine to make here in Oregon. It's just amazing. And to make it in those Burgundian styles too, where we're actually promoting a little bit of reductive character to it to bring the minerality out of it. You know, it freaks out some of the California winemakers that I have colleagues with. But, you know, we're promoting. I don't even settle out just like I do on the rosé. Don't settle it out at all. Just let all that nasty, chunky stuff come straight out of the press. And then, you know, once the ferment starts in the barrel, I'll top it up almost to the top, you know, just to promote that kind of reductive. And what it does, it brings these minerality qualities that you get out of Chablis or just like, or Montrachet or something of that nature. The grapes in Oregon really almost mimic it perfectly, which is awesome. So, especially our mother is a white Burgundy freak. She loves them. And so I don't think we really had a choice in what style we had to do anyway. So we had to do that anyway. So.
I guess I'm kind of with her. That's the wine that I promote the strongest for you guys. It's definitely my favorite that you guys make. It's an awesome wine. On every sales call back with the staff too, I'm like, no, that's their best wine, guys. You got to get that out there and sell it as fast as you can. But yeah, no, I strongly agree with you guys. I enjoy it more than the Pinot. It kind of first caught my attention. I was drinking one of Maggie's down at Antiquatera maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I was finishing my WSET diploma at the time, and that was probably my favorite wine I had the whole year. And it's just amazing, really. I like it better than some of the Washington wines that we make, but don't tell anybody else other than the people on this call.
It almost, we always say it, we don't tell a lot of people in the tasting room and stuff, but it almost expresses place better than Pinot Noir.
It really does.
From like the minerality standpoint that you're getting from one block of the vineyard or the guy next door and all these things, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it shines, and if you treat it with respect too, and not totally over manipulate it, especially in the ML range and oak characteristics, it can be super expressive. And just the different fruit profiles you can get out of it is amazing from vineyard to vineyard. Yeah, I'm excited about it. And yeah, we're doing a lot more Chardonnay for sure.
So with all the winemaking that you're going to do for some of these other clients, are you getting to play with fruit from different AVAs, and has that made you want to try and bring any into your guys' label?
That's a good question. We've actually kind of focused our wine on Yamhill Carlton, and we've even gotten even more micro.
We're getting smaller almost.
Yeah, we're actually focusing in on our neighbors that have these amazing vineyards, and just exploring the microclimates within the vineyards. So we're as far as Pinot goes, for sure, we've actually brought it in even tighter.
We're gonna make a sub AVA, a sub of the sub.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I have no idea. We're gonna
try. But as far as other varietals, I love to make a lot of stuff, and I hate to sell a lot of stuff too. Selling's the hardest part, but one of my clients, we bring in a ton of fruit from Horsehaven Hills, and Red Ridge? Anyway.
Red Mountain.
Red Mountain, thank you.
Yep.
No, yeah, Red Mountain. So yeah, we do Viognier from in that area. We do Cab Franc, Grenache, Mourvèdre.
Yeah, that's kind of our wheelhouse where we're playing around a lot too. It's interesting. Yeah. It's so different. For being so close, relatively speaking, it's so different. It's just, people here are kind of spoiled in that they can go down to Oregon and have really great Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, and then drive a couple hours and have some really great Rhone and Bordeaux right there.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, the blends. That's where I've been having my most fun, is doing Rhone style blends. That stuff. It's super tasty and delicious and easy to drink, and it sells like hotcakes. So it's fun to see too. So.
I saw a Chardonnay question that was like, what was some of your favorite Oregon Chardonnays or something like that?
Yeah.
So ours is good.
They're not lying. Theirs is awesome. It's really, I would love to get it for all of you guys on the call. If you have interest, I'll make that happen. Or you could go down and visit them, which is also a great idea.
Yeah. We just had some EIEO. EIEIO.
His name is Jay McDonald.
Yeah, his wines are solid.
And he owns a winery. He started a winery. It's one of the older wineries in Carlton, actually.
Yeah, he's one of the founding fathers of this area.
Yeah, he started in the 80s.
His Chardonnay's pretty solid.
Yeah.
He's good. Grand Moraine.
Grand Moraine's really good. Their Chardonnay's really good. Resonance is good. Resonance. So Resonance is a Louis Jadot project. Yeah, so a French company that came in here. They're doing Chardonnay that's killer.
It's good.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
So do you think Drouhin and Jadot coming in help play a role to kind of get people's attention to go more French in style? Or is that already?
Yes. Yeah. Finally. Yeah. Drouhin's been here a long time. And I think Jadot, coming in the past 5 years now, has really shown, especially the older guys that have been here for 30, 40 years, that it's Burgundy, 2.0. And these wines are, as expressive, if not more, and the winemakers just need to get on par with how to make those kind of wines.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
And just get through that learning curve, right?
No, for sure. I would say a good amount. I mean, I don't know how it is in Washington, but a lot of winemakers here are from California. And so, they want to let that Pinot Noir hang to like 24, 25 bricks, and you miss the acid window, and then they're just dumping the acid in, on top of the sweet fruit. And it doesn't work that way to make a good espresso Pinot Noir, in my opinion. You make a wine that people will drink. It's, tasty and delicious, but it doesn't taste like Pinot Noir.
I think we fight that battle here in Washington as well. It's I don't know if it's necessarily from the California, but I mean, you definitely see that kind of across the board where, I mean, a lot of contracts are based on bricks clauses, and I'm like, that's a pretty faulty way to have decide when you're going to pick.
Yeah.
You lose a lot
For sure. I hope I don't make anybody mad, but I definitely see that in a lot of Syrah programs up in Washington. I mean, a lot of the Syrahs up there taste like, it's like syrup, and they're so rich. And when we pick our Syrah, we're pretty much the first person to pick Syrah off Seven Hills Vineyard.
It wakes everyone up there. Oh, well, we need to start picking? What's going on?
Yeah, we had winemakers there. We were loading our fruit up in the vineyard. This winemaker was driving by on his ATV, and he looked at the vineyard manager. He's like, "What the heck, Sadie? You told me like 2 weeks." She goes, "Oh, they're from the Willamette Valley. It's all good." We're still picking at pretty high sugar levels, but we want to keep that balance with the acid. It just, again, I feel like if you pick it at a balanced spot, you really are able to express where these grapes are from.
I mean, I think philosophically there's some differences too, where I think in Willamette people are less inclined to maybe add back acid and some of those characteristics that I think, especially in the big wineries here, have become relatively commonplace. I think maybe just a lot of kind of winemakers grew out of those lineages, and that's just maybe how you do things a little bit.
I mean, I can taste it. I can taste the dark acid. I mean, especially to a point. I mean, a little bump here and there, especially at the beginning. It's not a big deal, but it tastes. It's like a sweet tart. I can taste the kind of fake. It just tastes fake a little bit.
Yeah.
But when your Viognier is at 18%, potential alcohol, you kind of backed yourself into a corner, right?
Right. Oh yeah, totally. Again, yeah, Viognier, like we picked the Viognier for one of my clients. We pick it at 21 bricks, and the vineyard manager is like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Trust me, dude, we're just going to do it." Yeah. It's a lot of, it's got a little bit, it's balanced, but it still has those Viognier characteristics of good stone fruit. And, it's still there, but it's more balanced. And, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I also think there's still a learning curve going on in Washington. I think, and a part of it's that in the Willamette, they focus largely on 2, 3, 4 grapes, and Washington's got 35. We can do it all.
Yeah, it's true. Right.
It's made it much harder to learn how to treat everyone correctly.
I have to answer this one. So someone asked about the label. So it's actually a picture that my mom took of myself and Sean and our younger brother Matt the first time we were all together at a vineyard in Oregon in the early 2000s. So our cousin's a graphic, or is he a graphic designer?
Yeah,
he's
graphic designer.
Yeah, at a company in Portland at an ad agency. So he helped put it together for us. So we just kind of ran with it from the beginning, and now it's changed in all these different colors and things are going on, and it's just kind of fun. And then there's another question about adding acid. Adding acid.
So it's kind of asking why picking early helps you from having to add acid.
Okay.
Okay. This is a great question. I get to talk about the vineyard. So especially with rosé, like I was saying, we leave the canopy together and we leave the leaves in the fruiting zone to slow down the ripening. So what happens usually, not always, depends on the vintage, but as sugar goes up, acids go down. To slow that down, we leave the leaves on there, and we want to just leave that so it kind of balances out. And then we'll pick it at that kind of balance level. And it depends on vintages. If it's a hot vintage, sometimes the sugars take off and the acid's kind of left in the dust. And then that's when we have to manipulate the vineyard, or vice versa. If we have a cool year, the acid and the sugar, the acid could be way up here. And then we have to do some fun stuff that, doesn't happen very often, but we do. We'll add some sugar and stuff. But
there's a lot of different tricks in winemaking, depending on the different vintages, to kind of make the wine more approachable. If there's too much acid, it can be a great wine, but it may take 10 years for it to get there. And if there's no acid, you'll find that the wine maybe is ready to drink right away, but has no longevity to it. So you're always playing this balancing game that they're talking about here.
Yeah, that's the truth. Or Pinot Noir is really weird that way too. It can drop acid really fast too. It can look great, and then if it's 90 degrees during harvest time, it'll drop out within a couple of days, and then you're adding a ton of acid back, and vice versa too on cool years. This last vintage, I got to play all spectrums. I mean, we had such a weird vintage year in 2019. We had little microburst rainstorms that would hit some vineyards, and it just slowed them way down. And then I had other vineyards that ripened super fast.
Yeah, it was very site specific.
Yeah, I was playing cool and warm vintage the same year. It was crazy. Yeah, I definitely do more winemaking this year than I've ever had to do in my life. Really, it was interesting.
Yeah, 19 was a bit of a trip, just kind of all the way around. It was a little bit that way in Washington as well. You guys may have experienced it out there at 7.
No, we did. Picking fruit up.
Yeah.
There was some frosty days, and not even frost. Like, it was like icy.
Yeah.
It was pretty cold.
Yeah, we were driving up to get our last cab, our last Marved pick over just outside of Benton City, and I mean, there were vineyards that were toast. Just everything was frozen.
Yeah, we saw some of that. Some of my clients lost fruit for sure to frost, which was sad. We didn't have the frost here, but we had a lot of rain, which kind of washes stuff out a little bit. And, we didn't even fix some vineyards because they were so washed out.
Interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, do you feel like that with Pinot being very thin skinned, does that affect it more?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah. It definitely will express what happened in the vintage for sure. Probably more than any other grape. The amount of rain in certain vineyards was amazing, and then we barely had any rain in some vineyards. And so, I mean, we had some vineyard sites get to 24 bricks, and then we had some that we couldn't even get over 21 bricks. It was crazy. It was the weirdest year I've ever seen. So we made some more rosé out of some stuff too.
Yeah, that makes sense. So there's another question. Can you discuss what Brix is?
Yeah, Brix is just a measurement of sugar. There's many measurements of sugar. Down in Australia, they use Bohmine, right? Something like that.
Yeah, and there's another one in Germany. There's handful.
It's just a measurement of sugar, and it's pretty easily used. You can use a refractometer in the vineyard to kind of get it, and then we use hydrometers and other tools to kind of measure it. And for us, Brix, it's not the end all of when we pick either. We just want balance. So some years we ripen up at 22 Brix, it's just a random number in that scale, but it works well for Pinot Noir. But sometimes it just ripens at that level. The fruit flavors are there, and the acid levels are balanced. And then other years, we got to wait a little bit longer, and we'll get to 23 or 24 Brix even to kind of get to the balance. It just depends on the.
You just got to taste it.
Yeah, exactly. And we taste and taste and taste and taste.
Yep. And then that once you have that Brix number, that's the conversion for your potential alcohol. And since they're fermenting to dry, pretty much that gives you your reference point of how you're going to balance that wine out.
Exactly.
Yeah. I can't defend or not defend that pairing because I haven't tried it and it was not on them. So they gave a handful of pairings that I sent out yesterday.
That's pretty
I think it was strawberry creme fraiche with caviar. Yeah, that one sounded really a lot better than mine. And then the oysters with the rosé meunier also sounded a lot better than mine. But I kind of was sitting there and I was trying to figure out, and I hadn't tasted the Pinot in a while, the rosé. So I thought I would just give a wild one, see if it worked. And I'm going to find out in about a half an hour if I was totally off base.
I'm sure it's going to be fine.
I will find out. I've sometimes I hit and sometimes I don't. So
I'll tell you what, the strawberry with the creme fraiche and the caviar on it, especially with our rosé, it's spot on.
They're just good anyway.
Yeah, well, it's good. But the salinity from the caviar, man, it matches the salinity of our rosé.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, that one sounds amazing. I would love to try that. What other questions can we answer for everybody on the call? So where are the vineyards at for you guys? You guys are bud break and a couple inches long?
Yeah, we're probably 6 to 8 inches right now. We were pretty warm over the weekend, and you could watch them grow probably. I mean, they probably 2 or 3 inches over the weekend. We'll probably in the next week or so, depending on the weather, we'll probably start setting first catch wires even, we're moving pretty good. Things are looking
consistent with normal vintages or off to a warm start?
I would say probably on the warmer side so far. I saw Ken Wright today, and he was already discussing how heavy the crop was going to be. And a lot of three clusters per shoot already. He said he saw a 4 cluster per shoot, which is heavy for
Interesting.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It's too early to tell.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it can change in a week, right?
Oh, for sure. And, especially here, we could have a great growing season and then get a freaking monsoon come through in September and screw everything up. That's happened a few times.
Well, I really appreciate you guys getting on the call here. It was a lot of fun to talk to you guys. I really enjoy your guys' wines, and I hope people get down there to see you. And if they can't get down there, anybody who wants this wine, let me know, and we'll make that happen as well.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And we can get you guys any of the wines if you guys want to look at the website or anything. And I know you guys get half of what we make, but we can get you anything. So
I haven't been down to see you guys yet, which is a mistake. So I got to correct that this year.
Yeah.
And we're out. This is usually our sales call time, so we're usually out doing stuff. We've just been hanging out. So we'll be up there eventually. Everything's kind of blows over, hopefully.
Yeah. We've definitely talked about we had a kind of a schedule of winemakers that were going to be to town, and that obviously got blown up. So So we'll make that happen. But thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Come see us,
guys. Yeah, come see us.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. Wait.